we'll be taking the placenta home. Guys, isn't this such a nice thing to talk about? I love these girly chats. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Aziza. I am currently 37 and a bit weeks. This video will have come out after I have given birth, inshallah, so keep me in your du'as, keep me and my child in your du'as, inshallah, and I hope everything has gone smoothly. Me telling my future self. So I'll be sharing my birth plan today, and to be honest, because I haven't been through this before, I was sort of stuck as to where to begin and what to write in a birth plan. I was a bit confused, so if you were like me, hopefully this video helps you out. I also didn't really know where to start in regards to being a Muslim and writing up a birth plan either, because obviously there is a certain code of conduct that we should follow as Muslim women, and you know, there's a way that we should also go about having haya and dignity in the way that we give birth. Hopefully this will be of some use to you, and yeah, let me know if it is useful. So let's get started. So just basics. At the top of my birth plan, I have obviously wrote my name. I also wrote the name of my birth partner, who is going to be, inshallah, my husband. So I wrote his name too, and who he is to the baby, who he is to me. I also wrote down my NHS number and my hospital number. Obviously they have all this information, but just so everything is clear and there's no confusion, because I'm not trying to have any stress on that day. And I also wrote down my estimated due date, just so that all the background information is there. Before I even get into the labour and delivery section of the birth plan, I think it's really important to highlight on the first page, if you have any medical conditions, your medical history, what sort of medications you are on. So medical conditions, colon, and then list whatever you have, if you have anything, and what can cause your medical conditions to flare up. I also wrote down a subheading for pregnancy related conditions and information that you would like to share with the midwife or the doctors on the day. So things like whether you are high risk pregnancy and why you are high risk pregnancy. They obviously will be able to deduct that based on your charts and all the information and your maternity notes and stuff like that, but I think that's still really important. Personally, throughout pregnancy, I developed group B strep, so GBS, which is completely common during pregnancy, nothing to worry about. But just giving you an example, this just means that my having GBS, I would likely be put onto an antibiotic drip during labour and delivery. I also put a subheading down for current medication, so I listed the medication that I take. I also listed that I'm on folic acid and the vitamins that I'm currently taking, and if I'm on any other medication, or if you're on any other medications now or closer to the time, just keep updating your birth plan, so inshallah everyone knows what drugs you're on. Now I also took this opportunity to write a clear subheading for requests. So I have requested for no men to be in the room at all at any point, and obviously me being a Muslim, I have hayat and modesty that I need to preserve, or hawra that I need to preserve, and basically on the day everyone's going to be on display in it. So I requested to have no men in the room. It will just be a women only room for how long it needs to be. I also specified that I would prefer to have senior midwives or midwives who are not in training, because this is my second pregnancy. This would be my first experience of going to the hospital for labour and delivery. I also have prior medical history that needs to sort of be consulted and stuff like that, so I would just personally feel safest that at least for my first pregnancy I did not have any student midwives or doctors in training. I specified that I didn't want them there for labour or delivery, or even just observing, because as a Muslim you would want fewer people in the room as possible. I also wrote that I would like to have a sign on the door of the room that I'm staying in, inshallah, specifying that there should be no males entering this room, and before you enter please knock on the door, so that we are both prepared and we don't have to worry about someone just popping in randomly, and I don't want someone to randomly pop into the room anyway. And unless absolutely medically necessary, and if there is absolutely no female doctor or no female midwife on call or available, very unlikely that there is not, then can a male doctor intervene, but notice must be given, essentially to protect my life, to protect the baby's life. Then under those conditions, Islamically it is halal for a male doctor or a male midwife to come in to help, but unless it's literally life-threatening, no thanks. I also asked for an LDRP room, so that is in labour, delivery, recovery and postnatal room, I think it's called. Going into labour now. Not now. Going into the labour section of my birth plan. First subheading is where to labour and give birth. I have specified that I would need to give birth in the hospital not in the birth centre but in the labour ward slash delivery suite, basically where the doctors are available, because my pregnancy is deemed a higher risk pregnancy. Although alhamdulillah everything has been fine with me and the baby so far, I just need to be in the actual hospital unit instead of the birth centre, or you know, I'm not able to give birth at home and that sort of thing. So if you wanted to have a home birth, or if you wanted to give birth in the birth centre within the hospital or on the labour ward, that is something that you would have to write. If there is an LDRP room available, then let us know. If not, then please let us know like how long it is for us to wait, because I would much rather wait for a room so that I can have as much privacy as I need and basically have my own space with my husband. That is ideal. If not, obviously I completely understand, like people are busy, people are giving birth all the time everywhere. The next part is monitoring during labour. So in my birth plan I have specified that I want no invasive techniques used on myself or my baby unless absolutely medically necessary to save her life, and this must be discussed with both me and my husband beforehand. When it comes to monitoring baby's heartbeat while you're in labour, there are multiple ways to do that. One of them is through just like having that strap along your belly throughout the entire time you're in labour, or which is continuous monitoring, or you could have intermittent monitoring, which is what I have gone for. So I have asked for intermittent monitoring during my labour just because I want to be as mobile as possible and as active as possible, be able to move around the room and not be restricted to the bed or restricted to a machine the entire time. Guys, I'm literally running out of breath. I've asked for intermittent external monitoring of my baby across the bump during labour to record contractions and baby's heartbeat where necessary. Again, I've stated that I want no intervention unless it's medically necessary and with the consent of both myself and my husband. And if induction is at the time something that needs to happen, then I would like all options to be exhausted before induction is required, and I want the midwife or the doctor, whoever's there attending to me on the day and attending to my daughter, to go through each option for induction of labour. I'm planning for labour to happen naturally, but obviously, like I said, not everything happens according to plan all the time. If induction is required due to labour not progressing, then please remind us of all the methods of induction possible. Next up is what I want to happen during labour. Like I said, I want to be as active as possible during labour, and I don't want to be laying on my back the entire time on the bed, because that just, I've read and researched a lot, and apparently that slows down your progression of labour, and it basically extends the amount of time, as far as I've read, extends the amount of time that it takes for you to actually deliver your baby, because you're just you're laying flat. There's no active movement, there's no like gravity helping you or anything like that. It's also important to specify whether you want to be able to eat and drink. So I've specified that I want to be able to eat and drink. I want my husband to massage me if I want to have a massage. I want to be able to use breathing techniques and relaxation techniques to calm myself down during those harsh times and those painful contractions. I want to be able to listen to Quran out loud, which is why I'm bringing a Bluetooth speaker with me as well. I want to be able to listen to Quran out loud, and obviously like I'm going to be respectful. Like if I'm on a labour ward where there's like loads of people, loads of women on the same ward, obviously I'm not going to be playing Quran out loud. That's my personal choice. I don't want to be able to affect somebody else's labour and delivery. I mean, for me it'll be the best thing. For someone else, someone who's not Muslim, that's not something that they might want to be listening to during their labour time. So you just have to be considerate. But obviously, inshallah, if I have my own room, then I would like to be able to listen to Quran and have my husband take photos and videos at our own will and not have to ask permission. I've also asked for as few examinations as possible to again maintain haya and maintain that sort of that guard and modesty during labour. If it can be avoided, then avoid it. Now on to labour positions. I have specified that I want to be able to rock and sway and use a birthing ball to help me during my contractions and during labour, to help labour progress. And I also want to be able to, if they have it, I'm not too sure if they do, I've seen on the website that they do, but there are like these ropes that they have attached to the ceiling, or they're like barred to the ceiling or the wall, and you're able to just like pull down on these ropes and they help with your contractions because you're able to push down into them, which is just subhanAllah, like there's so much of Islam in science now. And it just reminds me of when Maryam was giving birth to Isa alayhi salam, and she was like using the date tree to pull down on, to use gravity again to help her to deliver her son. SubhanAllah, like it's a miracle. So if they have that, I would love to use the I don't even know what it's called, the ropes. I've just specified pulling down a rope if the rope is available. But yeah, I think that's beautiful, and that it just comes full circle back to Islam. And yeah, it's a good reminder of, you know, how people, you know, back in the day there wasn't any drugs, there wasn't any medications or anything like that. It was just all natural. Not to say that I'm not getting any of that, but we'll come on to that. I want to be able to sit upright and squat as much as possible. Position being possibly on my hands and knees or kneeling. Basically want gravity to assist me as much as physically possible. Put a section in for special facilities. So I wrote that I'm not yet sure whether or not I would like to use special facilities including things like a birthing pool that they might have available in the hospital if it's available, and if it's needed at the time then I'll decide there and then. Okay, the big part, pain relief. Okay. There are loads of different types of pain relief you can get during labour. Paracetamol, basic paracetamol. There's gas and air. There's the injection in your thigh, which is either, I think it's pethidine. I forgot what it's called. Begins with a P. I'll put it on the screen now. There's diamorphine, which is another type of injection that goes in the thigh. There's obviously epidural. So I think that's all the pain medication. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the medication that you can get, or pain relief that you can get. So I specified that I would like to be offered gas and air as soon as possible. Inshallah, my plan is that I would like to labour at home for as long as I can, and then go into the hospital once I feel like I actually really need to be in the hospital and I need professionals around me, or I feel like something's going wrong. So I want to do as much as I can at home, just taking paracetamol. But once I'm in hospital, I want gas and air offered to me as soon as possible. Please offer paracetamol or cocodamol in the earlier stages of labour. There are certain medications and certain pain relief that you can only take in the earlier stages of labour, like paracetamol, cocodamol, and the injections in the thigh, because the injection in the thigh, for example, if it's given later on, it has side effects not only for you, side effects can also appear in your baby. There are certain medications that I can't get because of my medical condition. For example, can only get the diamorphine thigh injection and not the other one because it can affect my own medical condition. So I've wrote down here that I would like the midwife to advise on the correct time when diamorphine can be given in my thigh, as not wanting to affect the baby or chances of breastfeeding. That's another thing. Certain painkillers can affect breastfeeding after you've given birth, so please do your own research into that, and into, if you've got any like health conditions yourself, please research into that too, so that you are fully informed as well. I've specified though that I would like the midwife to kindly consult the doctor to double check that diamorphine is compatible with the medication that I take and with my medical condition before administering anything in the early stages of labour, if administering it at all. So that's if I choose to have it. Like I said, we'll have to see on the day really, I'm not too sure. Particularly with diamorphine, one of the side effects is that it makes you a bit sleepy and a bit drowsy, which I guess could be a really good thing during labour, so that you're able to have a little bit of a rest before you have to do all the hard work later on. So if diamorphine is given, I've asked that I would like to have an uninterrupted sleep for a few hours to minimise any risks to my health or anything like that, because I can't function without a certain amount of sleep. Uninterrupted meaning that I would like people not to knock on the door or not to just come into the room while I'm sleeping. Hopefully. Am I asking for too much, guys? Am I being too picky? I don't know. I've specified that I will choose to accept, decline or postpone any of these pain medications. Just if and when I want them, I will ask, but I want them to be offered to me anyway. My husband or I will ask if I want an epidural. I think it's really important that you're not given painkillers like forced onto you, and you're just given the opportunity to be really intentional with everything that you're doing during your birth plan, your labour, sorry. So I think that's really important, to just be present in that moment and not just think, oh my god, there's so much pain going on. Which probably will happen to me, that, you know, give me all the medications, give me all the drugs, that sort of thing. If I do ask for the epidural, then I would like to have the epidural where I can control how much I'm getting at one time, so that I'm able to still walk and like be as active and mobile as possible, because there is that type of epidural and essentially the same type of epidural, except that you kind of lose function of your legs and you're just sort of like staying in bed the entire time because of how strong it is, how strong the dose is. Now when it comes to delivery, like I said at the beginning, I want no male doctors, no male midwives, unless absolutely medically necessary. If there are no qualified female doctors on call or available, then I guess I'll have to have a male midwife. male doctor. So some things that you probably want to include in your birth plan under the delivery section is the kind of environment that you want to have. So I've specified that the type of environment that I would like is to be quite calm, with dim lighting, with quiet voices, low voices, relaxing as much as possible, with Quran playing, like I said again, and maybe even some LED candles. I'm not too sure. I've also mentioned delivery positions, so same as labour positions. I will deliver my daughter in whichever position I feel most comfortable, with gravity on my side. I don't want to lay on my back, and I've specified that I literally have said no lying on my back during delivery unless I feel absolutely exhausted and choose to, in which case I would like to be sat at the edge of the bed. So not even lying really, like sat, you know, like a bus stop, you know, the bed seat at a bus stop. You're not really sat on it because it's tiny, but you're more so resting on it so that your back is supported but your legs are still like holding your weight a bit as well. If I'm lying down, then I'd like to be laying at an incline or sat at the edge of the bed. And apparently, like I was doing some research as well, like when you're in labour and you're laying down, your baby has to work like extra hard to get through. So babies almost like have to go down your pelvic bone and then up again to just come out of your, I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, to come out of you. Whereas obviously if you're like upright, baby is just, again, gravity is helping and you're able to have baby come out easier because they don't have to go through lumps and bumps through your bones and your body. Defy gravity. I don't really know what I know what I'm talking about, but I don't really know what I'm talking about, so just leave me alone. The delivery method, so important in how you want your birth to go. So again, this could change. This could be a natural vaginal delivery or it could be a C-section. Some people opt for having a C-section. Whatever you choose, you need to write down in your birth plan. I don't want a C-section. Obviously I understand that there are certain circumstances where you need to have a C-section, emergency C-section, to have baby safe and sound. I have specified that I would like to have a normal, hopefully normal, vaginal delivery with as little intervention as possible without compromising the life of mother and baby. That essentially means that I would like to have the least intrusive methods used on me during my birth, or not during my birth, during my daughter's birth. No vacuum or forceps used unless baby is in distress and needs to be birthed immediately for her safety. If complications do arise, I would prefer all other options exhausted and discussed with myself and birthing partner before a C-section is even considered. I'd rather go through all the stress to have a natural delivery and have C-section as the last resort, inshallah, than have a C-section just offered to me because it might be the easier route. I know, like, in the hospitals that should be, like, medical professionals know that C-section should be the last resort anyway, but again, I don't know what to expect. I've also specified that I would like to tear naturally as well, as opposed to having an episiotomy. Episiotomy being where the midwife or the doctor makes a surgical incision into your perineum to help get the baby out. There is always going to be two sides to a coin. Some people would prefer to tear naturally, some people would like a doctor to make a surgical cut. I, in this case, would prefer to tear naturally just based on the research that I've done. Some midwives have said that natural tearing is the better option because your skin rips up potentially and then it can naturally come back together and like literally come back together like that, whereas a surgical incision is two straight lines and the two straight lines need to somehow heal. Look, this is based on my research. If you have a different opinion, then that is completely fine. This is your choice. You do your own research and you write your birth plan according to what you want and what you believe in. I don't want to have an episiotomy unless the tear could potentially, instead of tearing downwards, tear upwards, which can be, as far as I researched, really bad. I'm not even going to get into that. You can do your research, please. Or if the baby's heartbeat drops or she lacks oxygen. Basically, I don't care what happens to me. Do whatever you need to do to me and my body. As long as my baby's fine, then that's okay. That's like ultimately the entire purpose of this entire birth plan in the first place. I would like them to alert both me and my husband if an episiotomy is recommended by the midwife or doctor, whoever is there, and if it becomes necessary in advance. I don't want them to just Now this might be a bit deep, but it is what it is, and this is a birth plan for a reason. I have specified that in any extreme case that may occur, my daughter's life always takes priority over mine. No one goes into their labour and delivery thinking that something is going to happen to them or their baby, or hoping that nothing happens anyway to them or their baby and that everyone comes out safe and sound. But that if something does go wrong, that I'm not the priority, my daughter is the priority. She needs to be rescued or saved or anything before I am even considered. Like that's no nonsense, no question about it. My husband knows, and now based on my birth plan, all the midwives and staff or medical professionals who are there will know as well. So we've done labour, we've done delivery, we've done all of that. We've done that bit, okay? We've done the hard, well, is it the hardest part? That's debatable. We've done the hardest part. So on to afterbirth. For example, one of my subheadings is drugs / vitamins. Once a baby's born, the baby is offered a vitamin K injection. Whether you want to take that or not is completely your choice. It's your prerogative as parents. And yeah, the administering of any drugs or any vitamins should go through you before anything is given to your baby. I know in certain countries vitamin K has to be given to babies. In the UK, it's the parent's choice whether they want their child to be injected with anything at all when they are birthed. We've opted out. We've said that we don't want anything to be given to our daughter. We want basically as natural as possible. People are not going to agree with what I'm saying. People are going to say, you know, you should do this. I don't care. This is my choice. We do not consent to administering of any drugs or any vitamins or anything like that. I've specified that I want skin to skin on my chest immediately, no delay. So many benefits to having skin to skin contact with babies. So to regulate their breathing, to regulate their heart rate and body temperature. You should also think about cord clamping and the placenta. More contemporary research has suggested that it is beneficial to delay cord clamping for as long as possible once the baby is out of you, just so that baby can receive all the blood and all the nutrients that he or she needs during those significant moments after birth. So yeah, I have opted to delay cord clamping until the cord has stopped pulsating or until I have naturally delivered the placenta. So apparently it can take around an hour, more or less, to naturally deliver the placenta after birth. I've asked if I could have my baby on my chest doing skin to skin with her cord still attached to the placenta and attached to her obviously, until I have naturally birthed the placenta, and she has said that that's fine. She's probably not going to be the midwife there on the day, but if she said that's fine, then I'm thinking that that's like what all the midwives think. Once the placenta is then delivered, I would like my husband to cut the umbilical cord, and if baby needs to be rushed off for any reason, then obviously the cord will have to be cut by the staff member, in which case I don't want to give birth to the placenta naturally. I'd rather get the injection that helps contract your body to get rid of the placenta itself. Now in regards to the placenta, it is to take the placenta home and bury it. So that is what I've asked for. I've asked in my birth plan to take the placenta home. I know it sounds a bit weird. I'm not gonna eat it, don't worry. I know some people eat their placenta, some people just get rid of it straight away. Inshallah, we'll be taking the placenta home. So fun! Guys, isn't this such a nice thing to talk about? I love these girly chats. Next is feeding the baby. Inshallah, I would absolutely love to breastfeed. I like the more natural option. Obviously, there are some cases in which women can't breastfeed. I don't know if I'll be able to breastfeed yet. It could be a case where I will have to potentially use formula to help my baby live. And I would like to try to breastfeed as soon as possible and would appreciate support with this. So at the hospital, obviously there are loads of consultants that can come in and help you during and after labour and delivery. One of them being lactation consultant. So I would really appreciate, like I stated in my birth plan, support with breastfeeding. Just any help that I can get, I'd love. If already harvested, I will give her colostrum. So colostrum is like, it's not exactly milk. It's sort of like what you can leak out before your milk fully comes in, and it's like a more sticky creamy substance that is really great for babies, full of nutrients and stuff like that that can help them. Some people actually harvest colostrum and they freeze it so that when their babies are ill they can give their babies colostrum from the freezer, obviously defrosted, blah blah blah, and because it's so dense in nutrients and things like that, it can help them recover quicker apparently. This is a whole new world. This is a whole new world to me, honestly. But yeah, I've specified though that we have brought formula with us to feed baby in case my breast milk does not come in straight away. It can take apparently up to 3 days for breast milk to come in. Lastly, the scariest bit probably, stitches. So I think this is pretty much one of the scariest things that, one of the things that everyone's sort of scared about after they give birth is, you know, tearing and then having to be stitched up, and then yeah. If I have torn, guys, in my head, it's happened already. I've accepted that fate. I've stated that if I have torn, I would like to be stitched while my baby is being cleaned and examined. But then that might not work with the whole, oh, you know, I want baby on my chest until I've given birth to my placenta, because obviously, like, that could take up to an hour. This is so TMI. I should have probably done a warning at the beginning. This is very TMI, very graphic, I'm sorry. Once she has been cleaned or examined, please place her in my arms or her father's arms for skin to skin until the stitches are done. Once stitched up, please leave parents private bonding time for a minimum of 1 hour. And please do not disturb during this time, as bonding and religious rituals are taking place. Let me break that down. So I have checked with my midwife, and the rooms, like the delivery rooms that you give birth in, you have for a few hours after you give birth anyway. So again, if everything inshallah goes smoothly, I would love to just have that really special time after I've given birth without anyone else in the room, just me, baby and my husband, to, like I said, have some bonding time without any disruptions, and so that we can do the Islamic rituals, like my husband saying the adhan, baby's right ear, tahniq, so doing the date thing where you like have that chewed up bit of date and you put it on the, like a little bit, guys, you don't feed your baby a date, and you put the on the top of on the roof of their mouth, naming her, all of that sort of thing. So just the Islamic rituals that you might not necessarily find in birth plans on the internet. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There is about like 2.5 A4 pages worth of writing here. I think I've covered everything. Just make sure you're doing what you want to do in your own birth plan. It's your choice, it's your labour experience, it's your birthing experience. What I do, you might disagree with, that's your prerogative. My choice is my choice, your choice is yours. Be respectful about other people's options and opinions, and each to their own. Plan as much as you can, but ultimately whatever happens is gonna happen. Inshallah, if you're giving birth and you're writing your birth plan now, may Allah make it easy for you, may Allah make it easy in choosing exactly what you want on that day. Knowledge is power. Do as much as you can regarding research before you write your birth plan. It's so important to know what you want for you, and most importantly, what you want for your baby. Inshallah, I hope you give birth to the most beautiful, healthy, but most importantly, pious babies upon the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, mabrur, congratulations. I'm gonna go now because, yeah, I think I've talked enough. Again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Turn your notification bell on if you'd like to see more from me. If you want to see more of me, let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.